Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another Chi-Town Sports podcast. Massive day today. The pinnacle of the college basketball season, the peak, whatever you'd like to call it, today is of the utmost importance. As you can see here, the two teams highlighted in red on the Ken Pomeroy College Basketball website, Gonzaga and Baylor. The top two teams in the country for the most part all year. I give a shout out to little Michigan there. Did slide ahead of Baylor briefly. But just two of the best teams in the country. The two best teams in the country, let me be clear. Two of the better teams in recent history. As you look at these two ratings, Gonzaga's rating of plus 38.13 is the best in Ken Pomeroy rating history. And Baylor's plus 32.38 is a very high quality mark, a mark that would have led the country last season, a mark that would have led the country in many years previously. Now, these two teams are juggernauts offensively. Gonzaga, the number one offense in the country, the number one two-point shooting team in college basketball. Also, the seventh fastest team in the country. They play quick. You better be prepared if you're going to play Gonzaga to play a fast-paced game. Baylor, though, the number two offense in the country, right behind Gonzaga. They are the best three-point shooting team in the country. When Baylor's guards get hot, watch out. That team is nightmare to deal with. On defense, Gonzaga has the 8th rated best defense in the country. Baylor with the 27th, but I think that's misleading. I believe that Baylor can be just as good defensively as Gonzaga, if not better, due to the strength of its guards. I think Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, and company are some freakish athletes who can put amazing ball pressure on any team, including Gonzaga, and who have the capability of being a top 5 defense in the country when they play to their potential, as they did against Houston in the Final Four. Let's just go through these two teams' rosters real quick. Let's start with Baylor, because they might be a little less well known. I picked Baylor to win this national championship from the get-go, and here's why. Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, doesn't even have his picture there, Massimo Teague, Matthew Meyer, and as we scroll over here, Adam Flagler. Let's go here. Those 5 guards could start on any team in the country, but only three of them can start at the moment, and that is just a crime to the other two. Matthew Meyer and Adam Flagler come off the bench and put up points. I don't know what's going on here, but let's go out because it's just not loading or something out. Here we go. All right, yeah. So like I was saying, Adam Flagler and Matthew Meyer can come off the bench and score points in bunches. Meyer is a forward/guard, but I like to think of him as a 3 guard. Massimo Teague starts at the 3. He can shoot. Funky release, don't get me wrong, but this dude's a scorer. Puts up double digits almost every game. And then you got 2 All-Americans here. Davion Mitchell, number 45. He has his brother's number, Donovan, who's obviously with the Utah Jazz. And then you have Jared Butler, number 12. Wooden Award contender. This guy is a lockdown defensive player and one of the best shooters in the country. When he gets going, he's tough to defend. He's only 6'3". Davion's only 6'3", but these guys are very athletic players who can put pressure on teams on offense and defense. The big position, the big man, the weakness of this team. I'm not going to lie about it. Flo Thamba starts at center. He's 6'10". They call him a forward here, but he is their de facto center. He's athletic. He has a 7'5" wingspan. He can finish at the rim. He's also a nifty passer inside, as I noticed in their game against Houston and their game against Villanova. Mark Vital is the heart and soul of this team. He's a bruiser. He's only 6'5", but he plays like he's 6'9". He is a big guy. He's 250 with just insane thickness. Absolute monster to try to deal with in the paint, and on offensive and defensive glass. And you also have Jonathan Chachoa. He's come out of nowhere this year. not out of nowhere. He's been quite the breakout star. He's a monster inside and on defense. This guy is very athletic. He's only 6'8". That's one thing you'll notice about this team. The size isn't quite amazing. It doesn't blow you away. But Jonathan Chamuchecho is quite a defensive and offensive presence, as is Mark Vital, even though they're a little undersized. Baylor's guards, unbelievably talented. Its big men, still quite good, but definitely not at the same level as the guards, which is where Baylor could get in trouble as we go to Gonzaga's roster. All right. Gonzaga obviously has the best roster that I've seen since the 2015 Kentucky team, which was led by 5 first-round picks and 10 eventual NBA players. I can name Kat, Devin Booker, Tyler Ulis off the top of my head. There's many more. But this team has some NBA guys as well. We'll let it load up for a second, but I'll just start with the big names. First and foremost, after Saturday night, Jalen Suggs, who had an absolute classic, a legendary shot from about 35 feet away to bury UCLA in a game that I would say is the greatest game I've ever watched, the UCLA-Gonzaga game on Saturday night. That game was so well played, so high-paced. Few turnovers by either team, and just one of the better all-around basketball games I've watched in my time on this earth. But yes, Jalen Suggs, number 1 out of Minnehaha Academy, where he was teammates with the number 1 overall recruit in 2021, Chet Holmgren. He was also a 4-star football player, but basketball obviously is his strength. This guy is a train. I mean, 6'4", 205, he reminds you of Russell Westbrook in the open court. He can go and he can finish. He can also shoot the 3 ball from deep. He can pull up. He can pass. He can defend. He is the total package at point. But he hasn't had to be as good as he's capable of this year because of other players on this team, such as Drew Timme, number 2, from Texas, Richardson, Texas to be exact. This guy is crazy to me. He was not even a first-team All-State player his senior year at Texas. He got second-team All-State that year. But he has turned into one of the best players in the country. In this tournament especially, I think if you had to pick an all-tournament player or the tournament MVP, I'd give it to this guy right now, Drew Timme. He put Gonzaga on his back at the start of overtime with 6 quick points, and he can put up 20-plus points pretty routinely, I'd say. Andrew Nembhard, number 3, transferred from Florida. He went to Montverde, just where his younger brother is right now, and he is quite the player himself. To be a 5th best player in Gonzaga, for him to be their 5th best player shows how talented they are, because this is a guy who's an all-SEC level player. He hit a just dirty step-back 3 on Cody Riley of UCLA in the clutch in overtime to make it 90-85. He can put up points when they need him to, but he's a great ball handler. He's probably their primary ball handler over Jalen Suggs at the moment, just because of his veteran leadership ability. He's also 6'5", and so very tall, and he's quite good. He's their 5th starter, and he rounds out their rotation nicely. Aaron Cook transferred from Southern Illinois. He's a senior, and he'll get minutes off the bench, probably 10 to 15 this game. He can shoot. He's put in a couple threes when I've been watching. He's also a capable passer and driver. He's a smart player, plays within himself, knows his place on the team, but he's a good role player for sure. Now you got to scroll down a little bit. Number 11, Joel Ayayi. When this guy's your 4th best player, you know that your team is the best there's ever been. Joel Ayayi had, I think, 22 points on really efficient shooting against UCLA. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but he can shoot. He can drive. He's one of the smoothest players I've seen in college basketball. Don't be surprised if he goes in the NBA draft earlier than you expect. He's only a junior, so he could come back next year, but I doubt it. Yeah, this guy's really talented. He's 6'5" as well, and he's a great shooter, great inside scorer, has the total package, and defensively is great as well. Anton Watson, he's a local kid from Spokane and Gonzaga Prep. He's a sophomore, so I think he'll grow into a bigger role. This year, he comes off the bench to give Drew Timme some rest mostly. He is probably the 7th out of their 7-man rotation, I'd say. But that's no knock on him. This is a tough rotation to make, so just the fact that he plays at all is really impressive. I will say he is their weakness, though. If he's on the court, look for Baylor to attack him if he gets switched onto one of their guards. Finally, Corey Kispert, probably the best player on this team, pound for pound. He's a senior out of Edmonds, Washington, so he's another local kid. He has improved dramatically in his time at Gonzaga, from a 4-star recruit to a Wooden Award contender, probably their most prolific player. He is a lottery contender for this draft. I predicted him to be a top 40 pick in last year's draft, but he came back, just made Gonzaga that much stronger. He's a dead-eye shooter. He has the Joe Harris build, in my opinion. He's 6'7", so he's nice and tall as well. Baylor, I don't know who's going to guard him on Baylor, but he is a challenge to defend. So he also averages like 20 a game. So this team is nightmare offensively and defensively, but really offensively, I think they're the best team of all time. How will Baylor handle them? I predict Baylor handles them better than any team has, with the exception of UCLA, who UCLA's weakness was just inability to prevent Gonzaga's guards from scoring, inability to stop Drew Timme. UCLA's defense isn't their strength. They're 55th in the country. And while Baylor's only rated 27th on KenPom, so we can go back to that. Baylor's only rated 27th on KenPom, but I believe this tournament has shown people what this team is capable of defensively, because before this tournament, KenPom had Baylor basketball rated like outside the top 50. So that was a little off, in my opinion. Let's just real quick, we'll go through who Baylor's played in the tournament, because I do want to show you, I do believe this tournament has showcased their defensive potential. Yes, here we go. Holding Hartford to 55, holding Wisconsin to 63, Villanova to 51, and a high-scoring Arkansas team 72, Houston 59. Defensively, very strong all tournament. If they can do that with Gonzaga, if they can hold this team to under 80 points, I believe they have a legitimate chance at this national title. In fact, I picked them to win, as I've said before. I'll say it again. I got Baylor here. For anyone watching, I know no one is right now. Big day tonight. Big night tonight, sorry. But yes, I have Baylor winning this one. That's the video, guys. Also, the score on my tournament challenge bracket, I had it 82-78. I had Baylor beating Gonzaga in the final. So that final has shaped up. It remains to be seen whether I will be correct in my prediction. UCLA gave me hope. Baylor's looked good all year, all tournament especially. Gonzaga has as well. This will be a game for the ages, my friends. And with that, I will sign off and let everyone enjoy what should be a great basketball game tonight.